Coach and counselor explores how today's youth benefit from intentional, empowering adult leadership. Each episode blends perspectives from coaches, mentors, players, and mental health professionals, shaping the next generation on and off the field. From tough conversations to inspiring transformations, we dive into what it takes to support young people in today's world. All right, welcome to the podcast. Here today we have Riley Hnastshyn. Riley is a 2018 Most Improved Player of the Year in Louisiana, 2017 Rookie of the Year, member of the Louisiana Junior Golf Tour since its inception in 2019. Won the 2020 Louisiana Junior Golf Tournament after shooting 141, which is -3 on the weekend. Louisiana Junior Golf Tour Player of the Year in 2020. The Kelly Gibson Junior Golf Tour Player of the Year in 2020. 5-year letter winner at St. Paul School in Covington, Louisiana. A member of the 2021 Division I 5A State Championship team and earned the Tommy Brennan Award in 2020. Now a 4-year Louisiana Tech golf member, the Conference USA Commissioner Honor Roll from 23 to 25, the Conference USA Spring Spirit of Service Award in 2024, and the member of Louisiana Tech's SACC, the Voice of Student Athletes. Riley, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Quite the introduction. How's golf going so far now in your 4th year at Louisiana Tech?
I'm good. It's definitely been a whirlwind since we got back. It's been a lot having to juggle school and golf and just practices and all that. I had the fortune of traveling to both first 2 tournaments, which is pretty cool. Getting one was a home event, which is always special to me. Just getting all the fans from Louisiana Tech to come out and have them support us. Then also I got to go to Chicago, which was a pretty cool experience. A lot different for us because not like here in Louisiana. And, it's the grass is different, the weather's different, just everything's different for us being up there. And so that was pretty cool just to witness that and all that. And
the food's different.
It's just been, huh?
And the food is different.
Oh, food is so different. We were treated right. We got to go to Aurelio's Pizzeria, which is that was a very special place. Supposedly the Pope ate there, and that was his pizza place growing up in Chicago. So that was very special. It was really good. The trip was awesome. Just I couldn't have been more thankful for the trip and all that. And but overall, golf's been great. It's just been such a good blessing just to be here, have another shot at this, come back for my senior year, being able just to go and perform at my level and all that, and test myself and what I'm capable of doing.
So you made both trips. So you've been shooting pretty well. Tell us about how you've been playing. What's been good? What needs probably still some improvement? Because there's always improvements in the game, right?
Yeah. So lately, like this past couple weeks, I've always my whole career, I wasn't a very good driver of the ball. I used my height definitely to my advantage. Hit the ball a long way. I've always been a pretty straight, hit it pretty straight off the tee. This year I've gotten really good with my irons and my distance control, which has been a huge help for me. Just being able to judge my distances and, even my missed hits are still good. They're still in a makeable range, so I can still score when I need to score, or make golf easy on myself, which that's just the key of the sport is you want to make it as easy on yourself as you can. Mm-hmm. With it being such a long round. I definitely, I think there's, like you said, there's always room to grow. And every single time I'm trying to grow, whether that be through the mental game or just my putting. I've always not been the best putter, but I've always been a good putter enough that I can definitely hold my own and go out there and post a good number. But just to know, I look at what the professionals do out there, and I'm fortunate to be able to play golf with Sam Burns out at our home golf course, Squire Creek, and Sam is consistently one of the best putters on the PGA Tour. So just picking his brain on how to get better every single day at that sector of golf, because at the end of the day, the person who wins every tournament is going to be the best putter, and so you just have to know that going into every tournament we play. And so just if you go out every single day and find a way to get better at that, I mean, the sky's the limit when it comes to that. So
Yeah. And so you brought up the mental side of it, and I do want to get into that. Um, but I want to kind of go back to uh, the college tournament scene is a bit different than, even like the pro ranks or probably anything that you did before. So tell us a little bit about kind of a twofold question here. There's 9 guys on your team, which I think is, pretty standard in Division One golf, right? And then, but you have to make the travel squad. You have to be picked to be selected. So tell us about how all of that actually works, and then tell us about. I think you guys are playing 36 rounds in a day. Like that's got to be
yeah.
insane. So tell me about both of those two things there.
Yeah, so from the standpoint of like how we get to go to the tournaments, what we usually do is we have these things called qualifiers, which it's basically like a tournament within the team. So our coach will choose for every tournament, it's going to be different. One day it could be a 72 hole qualifier, one it could be a 54 hole qualifier. He'll send a message out, let you know like what is the requirements for that week. So some weeks he might be like, I'm picking all the five, or top two in qualifying is going and I'm picking the three, or just whatever he decides what he feels best for that week. Um, so far this past two, so for the home event, which we did was it was the low five scores. Got to go for a home event, and for Chicago, we what happened was is we were on like short notice. We didn't really have a lot of time to qualify, so he had to pick the team. So he picked the top three scores from the home tournament, and then he got to choose on his own, basically just like what he thought was best for the team for the final two. Uh, so that's kind of like how it goes when it comes to
Is it
tournaments.
is that pretty standard for like all? You think all Division One programs do it that way?
Yeah,
Are you?
it's pretty. Yes, sir. It's pretty standard. Even in like since when I grew up in high school golf, I mean, we've been doing that the whole entire ever since we were in high school golf, and there's always some form of qualification that you have to do in order to get to that tournament. Um, Sometimes it could be a little different. Like they'll do like other coaches might do like challenges. They might actually like not play holes. They'll maybe do like I'll go to a par three course and qualify on a par three course, or just do little drills that might earn your way onto the team and all that. Um, but majority of the time, it is done completely through just playing 18 holes and or playing 36, and it being kind of like your own little tournament within your team.
Yeah.
So
So I think you were in the top three in your first tournament, and then top two in the second tournament. So is it a given that you're in for the next one, or how's this going to work for the next tournament?
for the
Any
next
idea?
one, yeah. So for the next one, we have some time off. So I think what we're gonna do is our coach is probably just gonna requalify everyone, just because with with when you get have that long period of time off, it's kind of like tough to select someone because golf is such a changing sport. One day you can go out and you can shoot under par, and the next day you go out and you shoot over par. So I think he's definitely gonna. I think the plan what he's gonna do is just kind of requalify, and he'll probably take like top three in qualifying will be an automatic, and then he'll have some picks on the side to decide who wants to go to our next event. And then the one after that will be another like kind of short notice one. So he'll probably have to make his own little picks in there and decide who he thinks is best to take to that event.
So it adds definitely adds another layer. I mean, well, again, we're going to get into the mental side of golf, but man, it kind of adds another layer of a challenge, right? I mean, something that's kind of got to get it in your brain a little bit of like, hey, I just did great in my first one, I did great in my second one, but that may or may not matter because I have a qualifier coming up and I need to perform in that qualifier. Otherwise, I might not make the trip. It seems a little. It's different, and obviously in any other sport, this is very unique to golf that you have to keep rising to the top and being one of the best five in order to keep making these trips.
Yeah, for sure, definitely.
All right, so then tell us about an actual weekend. A typical golf weekend in the Division One world. Is it a Friday, Saturday, Sunday? Play 3 rounds. Like, how does it normally work?
Yeah, so majority of golf tournaments are actually held. So 36 days are usually Monday and Tuesday. And if you have or we'll start this way. So every college tournament's mainly 54 holes, unless once you get to conference, regionals, and nationals. Majority days will start so 54 holes. If you play 18 every day, it'll start on Sunday and you'll go Sunday through Tuesday. 36 days will start on Monday. Usually teams are arriving like also I'll give an example for this last trip to Chicago. We left that Friday at night, 6:24 at night. I think we flew out. Got in Chicago at 12 a.m. Went to the hotel. Woke up at I think 8 a.m. Uh, Went to this other golf course that our head coach got us on called Flossmoor Golf Club. Played around there. Got acclimated to the weather, the grass we were playing on that week. Just kind of getting back into the swing of things, and after the flight, and just getting your game kind of tuned up for what you're about to experience that week. Go to bed, wake up the next day, go to the course we're actually playing, which was Chicago Highlands Golf Club. Practiced around 18 holes, do a couple of things on the range. You kind of get tuned up, basically figure everything out for the week, pin sheets, pin locations. It's kind of like that's where majority of our homework for the week gets done. That's like our film, I guess you could say, for golf is our
Right.
practice round. Then Monday, I think, woke up at 4:45. Uh, we're sitting down as a team, eating breakfast at 5:30 a.m. in the morning at the clubhouse. Started warming up. Sun didn't even rise yet. I'm on the putting green. It's still pitch dark black. I'm doing little 4-footers just trying because I couldn't even really see the golf ball. And then we tee off at 7:30 was our first tee time. So then we tee off, and then that's the 36 hole day, which that's a very important day for us because, you know, obviously 18 holes of golf is already just straining on the body, straining on the mind. It takes so much energy to do it. Well, that 36 hole day, it's a lot definitely on the mind. We have a funny joke on our team. We always say like in a 36 hole day, there's an hour of an insanity when basically you're just sitting there like you kind of really don't know what you're doing. You don't know where you are at that moment. You're just kind of like in the flow of things because you've played so many holes, you've hit so many golf shots, and it's a lot. But it's definitely fun. I think there's a challenge to the 36 hole day, and I look at it as a way to definitely gain on the other teams that week because some of those teams will drop out on that final 36, and they'll start backing down, and they won't hit the gas pedal and won't keep it going and keep their momentum up. So I definitely think, if you're mentally strong and you physically strong, you don't let anything get to you and you just kind of keep battling through the day, I think eventually you can have a huge turnout come to that final round on Tuesday and maybe make a chance to win it.
How do you keep the gas on the pedal or the pedal on the gas? I,
Uh, I guess like for me, I always I try to tell myself, like the more simple I can make golf on myself that day, the easier it's going to be on my body, the easier it's going to be on my mind, and overall, like the less I basically like put strain on that. I won't have to. Like it ultimately, it will just help me out to keep going throughout the day. I definitely like one huge thing like we talk about during that day is like when it comes to like from a nutrition standpoint, like you got to eat a ton of food, got to drink the right electrolytes, put the right stuff in your body the night before. It starts the night before with proper sleep. You're getting the right sleep and all that. And then in that morning, are you stretching? Are you doing a little lift that's waking your body up and getting your body moving? And then even during the tournament, like are you taking time during the tournament to do different exercises, like when you have a break or if there's a weight on a hole, like are you keeping your body constantly moving as if you're just in that athletic stage the whole time? Because the one thing you don't want to do is like let your body get to like a resting stage during that time. Because that's when you start feeling your body will start breaking down and you'll start feeling it more mentally. So I feel like if you're just constantly active throughout that 36 holes, just doing something, whether that be even thinking with your brain or doing something physically, I think that's how I help, or I personally, that's what I do just to keep myself going throughout that whole entire 36 holes.
Yeah, and I'm positive that the normal average person who doesn't play golf to that level has any idea what you guys are going through. I mean, that's a 12 plus hour day. Obviously, you talked all about the mental side of things, the physical side of things, the nutrition. You kind of alluded to the weather changes and going to different parts of the country with humidity and air pressure and wind and different types of grasses and the speed of the grass. Like it's just a lot to consider. I'm sure there's a lot of note taking along the way too in a long weekend like that.
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
So let's well, I appreciate all that. Any reason why, I guess, they travel like most of your rounds are during the week as opposed to the weekend? That adds just another layer of challenge to the student part of the student athlete in golf.
Yeah, I think I don't really know the whole reason. I think from what I've heard, it's basically so we don't like miss out on a lot of school because with us only going those couple days, we only miss out of school on Monday and Tuesday compared to if they were to have like a tournament on a Saturday or a Sunday, we would have to leave probably on, we'd probably have to leave on like a Thursday or some days even a Wednesday, depending on how far the travel is. So you miss more days and all that. And sometimes it might get a little tougher for kids just to like the more days you miss, as obviously as a student athlete, just trying to juggle school and golf at the same time. And especially like sometimes when you're out there on the road, it's tough to sit there after you play 18 holes or 36 holes to go home and be like, oh, now I got to do an assignment for some class or something.
Right.
So it's definitely tough in that standpoint. But I think that's what it mainly came down to when they made the decision is just how can we make this easier for student athletes in this sport to get their schoolwork done while also being able to compete at the next level.
Got it. Got it. All right. So you've alluded to the mental side of things a few times now, and I'm definitely, really intrigued by this. I started watching Full Swing and Breakpoint, those Netflix series on professional golf players and professional tennis players. And I really noticed in that's something that's totally changed throughout the years is all felt like it, probably not, but almost all of those athletes have a sports psychologist, a mental coach, right? I mean, so we've traditionally you have a throwing coach or hitting coach or this sort of coach. You probably have someone working with you on all the aspects of the physical game, but the mental side of it is now it's mainstream, right? And something that,
Yeah.
that these pro golfers and pro tennis players are using literally almost every day or every weekend. Have you used any sort of mental coach or sports psychologist over the years? If so, what does that look like for you? How long have you been using them, and how does it benefit you?
Yeah, so recently, sophomore year of college, I actually went to my swing coach. I was kind of going through like a tough patch just with golf and everything and trying to figure stuff out and just kind of got overwhelmed very quickly, just with the college atmosphere and school and all that, just everything in general. So I went to him and he put me in touch with a psychologist. It wasn't a sports psychologist, it was a psychologist actually here in Ruston, where Tech is. And I mean, it was a game changer for me in my golf game. Just the way they're able to process your thoughts, and they show you a different outlook of what you're thinking. I feel for me it helped me. I was able to think more. I was able to relate more and to see more opportunities in myself and in the future for what I'm capable of doing. Like for example, so one thing I was struggling with was like I was getting too result oriented. And that's what one thing we caught early on. I was always focused on like, the number in golf. I was always focused on the score I needed to shoot that day or the score I needed to shoot that week to win the tournament. And my mental coach told me about like he said, well, let's change that mindset and start thinking as it as like an opportunity mindset. He's like, let's think about all the opportunities we had that day that can get us that score and all that. So we talked about like, like first off, it's just an opportunity just to wake up and be there, to play
Yeah.
college golf to the next level and to have that opportunity to go out and perform your skills. And then we talked like every hole you play that day is an opportunity to get better and to do something and to prove something to yourself. And so that helped me out a ton from the mental side, just understanding that, not everything's based on what we do when we finish. you can learn so much as an athlete through the process, through getting of the whole entire 18 holes, or even the process from when you started golf into the end of golf, is just the process of getting better. And so uh just having him has been such a huge benefit for me. I've grown so much as a golfer and even as a human, just learning about, I'm now able to take those things I've learned from a golf standpoint and bring them into other aspects in life, whether that be in school or my family or anything. So it's definitely been a blessing having him. He's done great with me. And I mean, I encourage it to every young athlete in any sport coming up now. I'm like, don't be afraid to go get a psychologist or a sports psychologist. There's nothing weird about it. I'm like, it's just like having a swing coach where they're here to help you. It's like, we're never going to be able to do any of this mental stuff on our own. Like, you need to have that one person to talk to, and that they can help you get through every hump or struggle you might go through in your career. So I think that's why, especially nowadays, that's why we see it's starting to grow much more, because I think just the mental side for every sport, and even like you said, through the break point and golf, which, and with the Netflix, those two sports are such single minded, it's just you and the course. And, sometimes you get caught feeling like you don't really have anyone around you, but then you sit back and you realize you're like, oh, I do have people, like you have a swing coach, you have a mental coach, you have teammates, like you have all this stuff that they can help you, and you still have your team. You just have to be willing to go out there and, experience that and see that for yourself, that you do have a team and that you have people you can go to and all that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've really got wrapped up into both of those shows and appreciate, I think, what they're trying to accomplish. Not only creating awareness for those two sports and the difficulty of those two sports, but also that it is becoming more mainstream, because I definitely think it's helping people out a lot. And golf, as you said, and tennis are unique, right? Is golf in your 36 hole day? I mean, you got 140 shots, so you can't let shot 33 affects shot 34 or any of the other shot after that. And I guess it can be a lonely walk from teeing off to taking your next shot, and a lot of things to think about. And so if it's not positive, right, if you're not really promoting how good you can be on your next shot, it's going to make that whole day a lot more difficult.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
Now, you've had some other difficulties throughout your playing career, right? And I want to get into that. We are going to take a quick break here for our sponsor, Operation Player Assist. But let me just kind of pose a thought or a question to you here on, some of those difficulties in the Coach and Counselor series. We want to talk about things other than just the awards and the accolades of sports. And it's easy for everyone to just see someone and see their success, and they don't really realize all the things that they have gone through to get to where they are today. So let's take a quick break, but bring us back to that time. You had some issues with your family. Mom had a diagnosis. It's obviously a lot to process in general, but definitely a lot to process as a young man. So bring us through everything that you went through during that time. But first, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
As we're talking about the challenges coaches face with young athletes, it reminds me of something that affects every youth sports organization: the administrative nightmare that can pull coaches away from actually coaching. I recently spoke with Jennifer from the Riverside Youth Soccer League, and she told me something that really stuck with me. She said, "We were spending more time managing registrations and chasing down forms than we were developing players." Sound familiar? That's exactly why organizations across the country are turning to OperationPlayerAssist.com. They specialize in handling all those behind-the-scenes headaches that eat up your time: registration systems that actually work, automated communication tools that keep parents informed without blowing up your phone, and emergency response protocols that give you confidence when things go sideways. Jennifer's League saw immediate results. Registration time cut in half, parent complaints about communication dropped to almost zero, and here's the best part: coaches could focus on coaching instead of paperwork. If you are tired of administrative chaos stealing time from what really matters, developing young athletes, I encourage you to schedule a free 15-minute demo with the team at OperationPlayerAssist.com. See firsthand how they can streamline your operation. Visit OperationPlayerAssist.com and click Schedule Demo to book your 15-minute consultation, because when the administrative burden is lighter, everyone wins: coaches, parents, and most importantly, the kids. OperationPlayerAssist.com, supporting the game behind the game.
All right, welcome back. I appreciate our sponsor there, Operation Player Assist. Before we left, we kind of just posed a question to Riley about some of the other trials and tribulations he's gone throughout his career. Riley, take us through the thought process and things that occurred that affected you, maybe affected your whole life.
Yeah. So definitely. So my freshman year of high school, I want to say I want to say it was around Christmas time or a little after Christmas. Um, my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer. Thankfully, we caught it early, but just the trials and the tribulations we had to go through that definitely affected me as like just a young kid. I want to say I might have been 14 years old. I never thought at that age I would have to go through that. So that was definitely, that was a moment I felt like I had to grow. I definitely had to mature as who I was as a human. And, that was right during my time, right before we kicked off that next season. And that was right before I started off with my freshman season. So, trying to juggle a lot during that time, school, golf, my mom and all that, and everything she was going through. And that definitely changed my whole outlook on life and golf in general. Cause, you start thinking like, how long do we really have on this earth? How long do we have time to do what we want to do and all that? And, I saw how it changed her life and how, she went from being able to do all this athletic stuff with her swimming because she was a collegiate swimmer. So she loved to swim. And, I saw how she was able just to go from all this and in a blink, it just changed her whole world. And just, I think I saw that and I learned, like, I was like, dang, like it's crazy to think this stuff could actually happen. So I definitely had to learn from that, and just grow from it. And then, at the same time, you had to be there. I had to be there for her and, give her that positive motivation to like keep her in good spirits and all that. And having a brother and having a dad who at the same time, just us three together, had to come together and, just be the men of the family as we were. And, no matter how young we were or how young I was and how much my brother and I were both going through our sports and how much we were going through in that life, like we just had to step up and start doing stuff on our own. Our parents might not have always been there during that time to help us, but we were okay with that because, we told my dad, like, hey, go be with mom. Like, that's what you need to do. Like, that's what your life's for and all that. It's like, Owen and I, we'll take care of ourselves. Like, we have this, we can do this. Like, you've raised this well up into this point. So it's like, it's totally okay. So definitely like looking back on it, I look at it almost as like a positive now, because, she showed so much strength being able to fight and get over it. And so it shows me, like, if she can have that strength to do that, I can have the strength to do anything in life because it's like, like that's how she raised me and all that. So I definitely thankful for her and the way she fought through it and the lessons she taught me through it and the lessons she's still teaching me every single day after it. And, I think I want to say now we're 6 or 7 years post chemo. And she's swimming again. She's back walking, doing all this athletics. She comes to my tournaments. She can like we were talking about earlier, she can walk 36 holes, no matter how long they may be. She's still out there walking. And, it's beautiful seeing her get her life back. And, every time I'm out there and I'm walking and I look over and I see her, I'm like, I just tell myself like, that's what a fighter's like. That's what it means to have that edge in life to want to keep doing more no matter what you may get hit through in life and all that. So
It's kind of amazing how from the bad we can find the good in it. The good in it from her approach to life and her approach to handling that situation. Same thing with you and your family, and and then therefore the positive outlook of living more in the moment and enjoying every day and enjoying where you, as we say, like where your feet are, right? Being present in the moment and just enjoying it because you never know what what tomorrow can bring us. So yeah, that's great. I appreciate that. So you also, kind of talked about your role of, your dad and your brother too. So, and just in general, talk to me about, the role of your family as a whole and the role of faith in your family as well.
Yeah. So definitely, I mean, my whole life, so I had a brother growing up. We were always in sports. He was always in football and baseball, and I was always in golf and basketball for my sports. We were constantly traveling, constantly doing. There's one weekend I'm in one part of the country with my mom, another weekend my dad's in the other part of the country with my brother. So definitely was a lot on us, but it was such an amazing time and all that. He was fortunate. He was able to play football at Indiana Wesleyan, had that opportunity, was two-time conference champion there, made it to the semifinals in their college football playoff there. So that was pretty just special just to see that happen to him, and pretty just heartfelt for me as a brother just to see that and see my brother succeed. And just from a parent standpoint, my parents my whole life, I noticed they sacrificed so much for my brother and I, just for us to succeed and all that. And I couldn't be more thankful for them and all that. And, just we put a lot of our faith in just God and all that. And just, understanding that whatever might happen in life, it's his plan at the end of the day. And, we just have to keep trusting in him and just put our faith in him. And so that's just been a huge blessing just to have in life, and just to have that form of family, and that family that we all believe in the same thing, and we all believe that we know that there's a plan for us, and that no matter what may happen, like, we're all going to back each other, and we're all going to be there for each other no matter what may happen.
That's great. You're a very athletic family, right? Brother played, you're playing, mom played. What about dad? Did dad play in college as well?
He never played in college. He played a lot. So in high school, he was pretty much did every sport there was. His main sport was probably, I want to say, probably swimming as well. He was a swimmer and cycled. And then actually, so what he got into after high school was got into sailboat racing. He was a huge sailboat racer. Had the opportunity to actually race a sailboat for the guy. His name was Mr. Bob. He owned Cafe Du Monde, which, if not many know, Cafe Du Monde is like the staple of New Orleans with the beignets and the coffee. So that was a pretty cool experience. And just hearing the stories he got to go on, whether he's raced in California and going on sailboat racing trips in the Caribbean and all that. So he just hearing his stories from that, just the competitions and what it was like. It's a long kind of, I can relate it to golf because it was just a long day of racing and all that. And sometimes it was over a long period of time. So it's pretty cool just hearing his story.
No, that's great. That's great. So, we talk a lot about early specialization on this show. So in golf, it may be, very different. And when we talk about it in baseball and softball and, really any other sport, volleyball, football, etc., most people are really against early specialization, right? They want to breed athletes, and those athletes typically are the ones that succeed in life. But golf's a different animal, right? You don't necessarily need to be a quote unquote athlete. You just need to be really good at doing this largely the same things over and over, right? It's a bigger, repetitive sport. The ball doesn't move like it does in baseball or softball. So obviously you didn't specialize, right? I heard you say that you played basketball and you probably had some other sports growing up, but do you think you'd be a better golfer today if you were like Tiger Woods, coming out of the womb, hitting golf balls in your diapers?
Uh, personally, I don't think so. And the way I say that, and the reason why I say that is because I think the biggest key when it comes to golf is competing, and that's any sport actually. Like, you have to be a competitor if you want to be successful at that sport. You can't just go in there and just lollygag your way in there and just strictly go off talent. You have to understand and have that want to win. And so I was able to learn that from other sports. And growing up, when I was little, I'd get mad if we lost a basketball game, or I'd get mad if something were happening, like, in that edge that I learned to that want to win and that desire of hating to lose was I take that now into now when I play golf and I look at what it does now and it helps me out a ton because it's like when I get hit with a certain situation in golf, if I catch a bad lie in the bunker or catch a bad lie in the rough, I'm like, all right, like yeah, I'm gonna get hit with this, but watch this. I'm gonna use my competition. I'm gonna use my edge to put this ball right next to the hole because I know that if I can do that, it's gonna strike fear in my competitor, and my competitor's gonna be like, all right, well, this dude's gonna be tough to beat today.
Mhm.
So I feel like I definitely learned that from growing up playing other sports, not just golf, just whether it be any sports. Um, but sometimes when it comes to golf, I do see why a lot of people stick to just golf because it's such a year-round sport and such a sport that just requires a lot of over and over just repetition of just doing the same thing, doing the drills, doing hitting 1,000 putts. So that like you just got to do a lot of the same thing. So I definitely get that, but at the end of the day, I think the most important thing is just learning how to compete. You just need to learn how to win and how to want to win.
Yeah, I think you bring up a great point. I think again, it's in that one of those two Netflix series. I don't remember if it was the tennis side or the golf side. They talked about really the difference between, let's just say it was tennis because I think it was, the difference between the number one and the number two tennis player and the number 35 tennis player in the world is nothing physical at all. It's all mental. It's all their approach. It's all like, as you just said, like, their ability to be a competitor. And it's funny. You also said something too that, we had a podcast with John Moscow, as a professional baseball player at the Cincinnati Reds. And he worked with he read a book or worked with a sports psychologist. And you said that term, watch this. And that's the exact same term that he used to get his own competitive edge on the mound when he was pitching professionally. And that's that competitive spirit and, that mental side of things that is a differentiator between, being a top player in the country or in the world or just being, I say only, right? In golf, like if you're the 50th best golfer in the world, you're probably making a ton of money.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. So, well, very cool. Let's kind of just stay on that thought. And, you have interest in having kids one day? You're young, so
Yeah,
it's probably early question for you, but
Yeah.
you get a chance to do it all over again. With let's just say, your future little Riley down the road. What are you going to do with him when it comes to sports? You going to try to push him in golf, have him play a bunch of different sports, have golf be part of it? What lessons, would you learn from what you've gone through to help him be a better athlete in the future?
Yeah, for sure. I've always been big on would love to put him in as many sports as he wants to play. I think you have to try out everything to see what you truly love. And, if it ultimately happens to be golf, I'll help him no matter what it takes to get him to the level he wants to play.
Hmm.
But I think it's just my whole life, and my dad has always taught me this. It's just you got to do what you want to love, and so in order to find that, I think he needs to do everything, and everything he wants to do and what he's capable of, and so I'm willing to back him in whatever. So yeah.
Got it. What's some of the best advice any coaches, have ever given you, or just in general, what's the best advice anyone's ever given you to help you be a better man, a better person, better golfer?
Yeah, that's a great question. I received a lot of good advice from my swing coach. But one thing that was special that really stuck with me, I want to say it was kind of like right when I got to college. One day he and I were in a lesson, and I was doing this little drill, and I was getting onto it pretty easily, and then I was hitting a couple balls, and he kind of stopped me in the lesson. He looked at me. He's like, "Do you know how good you are?" And I was like, I was like, "Yeah, I think I'm pretty good." He's like, and he told me, he's like, you have the capability to do so much more in this game because he's like, you're one of the best ball strikers I've ever seen. He's like, I would put you up against some of the best ball strikers. And so from that, he told me, he's like, Riley, if you work and you strive for the best every single week, he goes, I think you could be one of the best one day in the sport and all that. And so that stuck with me, just, hearing that advice, just to keep working and to keep doing the right thing. And, just to have that belief from him and use it in me. I think sometimes it's good as an athlete to hear that belief from someone else, because you try to put all that belief in yourself, but sometimes it's tough if you're not seeing the results or anything. So just knowing that, it helped me out a lot, and I take it every single tournament with me, that I know that no matter what school I'm at, and if I'm not at an SEC or I'm not at a bigger school, that I can still compete with these guys, because there's no difference between me and them.
Absolutely. Well, that's awesome. Hey, have you ever gotten a hole in one?
I have
You have three.
three hole in
Ooh,
ones,
dang.
two this year, so
Oh wow. Tell
pretty
us,
special. Yeah.
when did the first one happen?
The first one happened when I was 10 years old. I was in North Carolina for a tournament, and it was so long ago, I kind of vaguely remember. I just remember it was an 8 iron, and I didn't really hit it the best, kind of pulled a little bit, and the hole was kind of like in a little bowl, and it just kind of bounced, and next, went in the hole. Uh, that was just a pretty special, surreal moment. My dad was there caddying for me that week. So I remember just going crazy, jumping in his arms, thinking it was the coolest thing ever. So like looking back on it, it was a pretty awesome moment to have.
Yeah. And then let's talk about the other two.
Yeah. So
Two
the
this
other,
year. I mean, that's insane to have
yeah.
two in one year, right?
So the other two, one of them actually happened in a qualifier, so that was pretty cool. It was at our home course, Squire Creek Country Club. I think he was playing, I want to say like round 135 that day, and the pin was kind of in like a back left corner, and they had this little mound behind it. So I get up there, and I was like, it's like, and the wind was kind of like help or hurting right to left. So I was like, I'm thinking about throwing it off that hill. So I hit this little soft 50-degree, hits on the hill, backspins. The next thing it just drops in the hole. And I was like, all right, that's pretty cool. Like, it's pretty cool just to see like my thought process actually work. And then the last one, uh, that one was pretty special, because I went out to my home course that day, and my goal was to try to break my course record. And I got off to a pretty hot start. I think I birdied the first, part of the second, birdied the third. So I was 200 through three. And I get to the fourth hole, which at my home club is deemed like the hardest par three out there, the long par three over water. And I hit this iron. It was just going dead at the hole. And I was like, oh, that looks really good. And I took one hop, and then the ball disappeared. And I was like, dang, that's pretty cool. Like, just to see that happen. And next, like, definitely kind of was a pretty big like boost in the round, because I was like, holy crap! Now I'm 400 through four holes. Like, now we're only three shots off my course record. So that was definitely pretty cool just to see that, and have that happen to me.
And did you break the record?
I did. I actually tied it that day. I
Okay.
tied my own record that day. So that was a bummer, but at the end of the day, it was still a really good round of golf. So can't
Abs-
really hit it that bad.
So is one of those three hole in ones kind of your most memorable moment or experience throughout your career, or is there something else out there that's that would stick out to you as the most memorable experience for you in your life so far?
Yeah, I mean, definitely that third hole one was pretty special. That I just, it was the day I was trying to break a course record and got off to a really hot start. But I would probably say like my most memorable thing that ever happened to me in golf was probably last year, final round of conference. We kind of got off to a slow start first two rounds. Coach comes up to us that final round, and he's like, boys, it's time for us to step up. Like, it's time for us to get out there and just do what we do best. And so I tee off. I think it was the second tee time that day off for our team. Got off to not a slow start, but missed a couple birdie putts. Didn't really hit the irons the best on the front nine. Shot two under, and I was like, all right. He's like, this is a good round so far. I was like, let's keep it going. And so I get on 10 tee, and I hit this really bad three wood, kind of fan it out there. I have a long way in, and I'm sitting there with our assistant coach at the time, and he looks at me. He's like, look, he's like dead center, pins in the dead center of the green. He's like, let's go right at it. He's like, this is our do or die moment right here. Like, this is either when we flip the switch or this is when we start backing off. And I hit this soft 7-iron, lands right next to the hole. I birdie that one, and then I proceed to birdie the next two after that. So just in a split of a moment, I went from being 2 under par to 5 under par with we still had 7 holes to play. And so right then and there, it kind of clicked to me like, oh, this is a day we can go low and like we can make a difference. That was definitely like just a surreal, pretty cool moment for me just to be there fighting for every single shot that day and just understanding like how much I was capable of doing that day and in the future. So that was pretty cool.
Excellent. Well, we're getting down to the wire. We're going to have to wrap it up. So, a couple final questions, which is really what's the rest of the year look like for you in golf, and then what's the rest of the golf career look like?
Yeah. So we have 2 more tournaments this fall. We'll go to Notre Dame first week in October, and then we'll go to South Alabama's tournament in Mobile, Alabama, and then I'll wrap it up for our fall. We'll have about, I want to say like a 2-month break, I think it'll be for us this year. Just in the off season, obviously we'll still have like little work here and there, but like NCAA regulations, we're only allowed to, I think I want to say we'll practice drop down to like 8 hours a week instead of what we're at right now of 20 hours a week. Then we'll kick it back up. I think we have 7 tournaments this spring, counting conference. And so that's just spring's always the busy part for the golfing for a college golfer, just with constantly traveling and all that, and schools. Being here at Tech, we're on that quarter system, so you have to go through 2 quarters during that spring season. So that's just a lot in general, but it's definitely enjoyable. And then after that, hopefully my ranking is good enough that I can qualify maybe for the Corn Ferry or the PGA Tour Americas. But if not, probably just go do a couple mini tours and just test my game on that level, and then head to Q school after that, which is the way you have to qualify to get on the tour, and just see what it's capable and what I can do there, and just test my game to the best of my ability and just trust in the process and ultimately see how far I can go in this sport. So for sure.
Excellent. Well, good luck to you in chasing that dream there, and I appreciate all your time here on this show. And good luck the rest of the season. Good luck in your career, and we will be in touch, I'm sure. Riley, thanks for your time.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
All right, take care.